South China Morning Post, 6th of July 2023, Chinese technology aids researchers in tracking the pulse of the Pacific Ocean using spy buoys over dangerous waters. The country has placed spy buoys across several oceans to monitor and track ocean risks to China. One of the world's swiftest ocean currents is the Kuroshio extension. More than 2,300 huge sports stadiums worth of water is moved by the flow every second as it extends into the western Pacific Ocean from Japan's eastern coast. In addition to producing extreme weather locally, the tropical current's warm seas also release a significant amount of heat into the atmosphere, impacting the temperature of the entire northern Pacific region. According to studies, the Kuroshio extension's variable characteristics have aided in developing typhoons that impact China's coastal regions. The storms that track eastward towards the U.S. west coast are also strengthened by the current, bringing other meteorological effects, including heavy rain and strong winds. The Kuroshio extension is known among scientists as a graveyard of buoys because of its erratic and occasionally violent behavior. On May 19, 2020, a storm attacked the Kuroshio Extension Observatory, ripping the floating marine monitor from its anchor. This incident was exceptionally devastating. Over the years, incidents similar to this have occurred. Many pricey instruments and approximately 5,000 meters (3.1 miles) of cabling were left on the ocean floor after the unmanned observatory drifted away for 2 months in 2017. The United States was the sole nation maintaining ongoing observation in the region for many years. But the data collection ceased when the Kuroshio Observatory was destroyed. But this time, inclement weather didn't just hit the American buoy. 2 buoys from the China Kuroshio Extension Observatory, CKEO, were swaying nearby amid the strong winds and rough seas. Although the buoys were similar in size and complexity, they were more durable. According to peer-reviewed research published on June 26 in China Science Bulletin, they were unharmed by the turbulence and transmitted data without the American observatory. China has been catching up to the U.S. in maritime surveillance, though. Chinese experts have recently been deploying increasingly high-quality monitoring surveillance devices, especially in marine regions where the two countries' strategic interests collide. The Kyo buoys had been doing in situ observations continuously for more than 3 years by 2022. The research team from Ocean University of China in Qingdao, Shandong, led by Professor Chen Zhouhui, stated in the paper that a vast amount of data had been gathered. The Chinese military is particularly worried about the warm water's swift current. For instance, rapid variations in water density can cause unexpected jolts in submersibles. According to Chen's statement in the research, the highest ocean-atmosphere interaction and most complex conditions can be found here. It's possible that the US and other nations that have lost sizable buoys in the area underestimated the difficulties. The glass fiber and foam-filled hull of the American Kuroshio buoy, for instance, was built. According to Chinese researchers, such materials wouldn't likely be sturdy enough to withstand some of the harshest circumstances in the Kuroshio extension. However, the frame of the Chinese buoys is made of a magnesium-aluminum alloy. The material was selected due to its low density, excellent strength, and rust resistance. According to Chen's team, the overall power of a buoy built with this alloy is greater than that of frequently used foam-filled buoys. According to Chinese experts, the mooring system of the Kyo buoys has been built to endure maximum flow rates at various depths, extremely high wind speeds, and harsh wave conditions. The primary body of the buoy is not directly connected to the anchoring wire. Instead, a cantilever structure that extends from the buoy's underwater bottom decreases the chance of breaking and aids in keeping the buoy in a roughly vertical position even in the most ferocious waves, according to the researchers. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, it took the U.S. almost 2 years to repair the American buoy after it was wrenched away in the Kuroshio extension in May 2020. By then, China had set up 5 underwater observatories to work with the 2 Kyo buoys on the surface, creating a nearly straight line of observational sites across the current from south to north. Putting permanent observatories in the Kuroshio extension was like accessing the pulse of the Pacific Ocean, according to Chen, who could not be reached for comment. The Kuroshio and its extension are essential maritime areas for the global climate system, just as our human blood arteries regularly transfer nutrients to various parts of the body. The Kuroshio is a vast warm air channel via which the ocean dumps heat into the sky. 5 years ago, we didn't know anything about this region. But today, Chen remarked that we have built the first real-time, fixed-point observation array for the Kuroshio extension in history. Researchers can acquire important information on the particular oceanic conditions at that place by making a single-point observation from the U.S. buoy. A marine scientist in Beijing who is not affiliated with Chen's investigation believes that the scant coverage might not give a complete picture of the larger-scale dynamics and processes in the area. The Chinese buoys offer a more extensive view of the oceanic conditions and processes in the Kuroshio extension since they cover a large portion of the area. Thanks to the wider coverage, researchers can now get a more comprehensive understanding of the regional distribution, temporal variability, and interactions of several oceanic characteristics, like temperature, salinity, and currents. According to the researcher, who asked to remain anonymous due to the subject's sensitive nature, marine scientists may prefer combining the data gathered by the American and Chinese buoys to enable a more thorough analysis of the oceanic processes and their interactions with the atmosphere. Although there isn't a formal agreement for cooperation between the U.S. and Chinese governments, project scientists from both countries have access to some of the information these buoys collect. By combining the data, researchers can better understand the effects of large-scale phenomena on climate systems, including oceanic fronts and eddies. The Kuroshio extension area's scientific research and modeling efforts benefit from a larger perspective since it increases their precision and dependability. For the benefit of humanity, China and the U.S. have teamed up to keep a watch on this dangerous water, the marine expert stated.